Welcome to Best Stories from the Sensational She-Hulk, where I share with you my 5 personal favorite stories from the 60-issue series. Let's jump right in. This is one of the more wacky stories. Through the actions of a villain called Dr. Bong, She-Hulk is sucked into a television world where she has to experience different shows and movies. You'll see parodies of the Flintstones, Mighty Mouse, the Three Stooges, the Jetsons, RoboCop. The villain has one of the strangest motivations I've ever read. Basically, Dr. Bong's kids became addicted to television, which Bong believes will make them stupid. To scare them away, Bong decides to make television shows more violent, gritty, and real. Shulky eventually rips up the pages of her own book in order to find Dr. Bong's lair, where she traps him within his own television. Problem solved. We now move on to issue number 9, called Burn Out. This one is most notable for its antagonist, who's sort of obscure. He's called Madcap. You could see him as a vague combination between the Joker and the Scarecrow, in that he's a crazed trickster who wants to drive everyone else crazy because he believes life is pointless. She-Hulk is Madcap's next prime victim, and by making her look him in the eye, he basically sends her on an acid trip, which puts all bystanders in danger of being pounded or smashed. She-Hulk breaks free of his control and throws him in a trash can. Good stuff. By the way, there's an odd part near the beginning where Madcap is sitting and reading the same comic he's currently inside. In number 36, She-Hulk, accompanied by her sidekick Wheezy, is flying from the East Coast all the way to the West Coast to visit her father, Sheriff Walters. By the way, yeah, Jen has a flying car. It even has limited space capabilities. Dear viewer, you may be convinced that your car is cool, but I assure you that She-Hulk's is much cooler by default. Anyway, Jin's visiting her father, there's a warm reunion, and everything. There's even a romance formed between Sheriff Walters and Wheezy, which will continue for the remainder of the series. The reason this story is on this list is because there's a touching moment where late at night Sheriff Walters is lamenting about the fact that he'll never see his daughter in human form again. In Fairytale Fashion, Jin uses a small gift she received from Santa Claus earlier in the series, and very temporarily transforms back into a human so her father can see her as she was. We move ahead 10 issues to number 46. I won't get into the details of how the characters ended up in this position, it'd take way too long, but suffice it to say, She-Hulk is imprisoned on an alien planet, while her comrades are waiting for her outside of the planet's orbit aboard a Skrull ship. There happens to be an alien in the cell beside her who possesses a strange ability to switch the minds of two people. She-Hulk convinces him to use this mind-switching method on her so that she can switch minds with Wheezy and communicate with their friends in space. But something goes wrong. The gamma radiation in She-Hulk's blood changes the effect, so that instead of switching minds with Wheezy, they switch body types. In other words, we get to see an aged Wheezy become young again, and play the part of the muscular, beautiful heroine. Interesting stuff. You gotta feel kinda sorry for Jin, who has to look like this for the next few issues. And chronologically last on my list of 5 best stories, we have number 53. She-Hulk is dead in this issue. In the last issue, a villain popped out of nowhere and killed her. This details her journey into the afterlife, how she escapes the judgment of her soul, how she reunites with her deceased mother, and other dead characters in Marvel history. Bucky, Captain America's deceased sidekick from long ago, leads She-Hulk on a tour through the shopping center that rests between eternal bliss and damnation. Apparently many villains who die end up reforming into good people, with the exception of the Green Goblin. Green Goblin shows up at the mall to terrorize everyone with pumpkin bombs, but She-Hulk emotionally leaps into action and whoops him into a pulp. It's an intriguing, if not somewhat dark tale. Jen faces the guilt she feels over her own mother's death, which she'd been holding up to this point, and this story presents an opportunity for mother and daughter to interact face-to-face one last time.